Welcome back to Secret Rare, the Pokemon podcast. This week, we've got Tom, Ryan, Smith, and Connor Marker. How are you, Connor? Thank you for joining us.
Doing really well. Thanks for the invite.
Of course.
Love me some, Pokemon, love me some podcasts. So
less of an invite, more you telling me this was happening, but it worked for me. As a man I'm a man of little decisions on a Monday because this is allegedly my day off. So having something like that happen to me makes my life easier. Tom, how are you, darling?
I'm really good, actually. You know what? It's really nice to have our first ever guest on the podcast. So, yeah.
First ever guest. The third ever.
There's a lot of pressure now.
Connor, you are the third ever, first ever guest. I'm getting made fun of for being an old man and calling our second ever guest the first ever guest.
That's good. Okay.
I'll take it. The wonderful Neve who joined us last week. And like Neve, we have an initiation process to go through. Connor, give us your 6 Pokemon, starting with number 1.
Number 1 is my favorite Pokemon of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sudowoodo.
Wow.
Yeah,
such a banger Pokemon. Ever since it was first put in the games, put in the cards, 10 out of 10. All the cards are so great about it as well. Loads of smiles, lots of cool poses.
So my question for you, Connor, is: do you have the Sudowoodo alt art, but it looks like it's an empty street as a Pokemon card, but he's just standing there?
No, I don't, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I like the direction of that card. Because most of it, they know what they're doing. They're just like Sudowoodo's big face and like this big smile on him. But that's a great one.
I've not disappeared, by the way, Matt. So just to let people behind the curtain, I have my other monitor under my desk for non-nefarious reasons, I can promise you, but now you're back. So for a while there, Connor and Tom were just staring directly at my crotch, which is just a dream for any listener, I can imagine.
Right.
Sudowoodo is... I would put Sudowoodo on the tier of Pokemon that you could guess 500 people's favourites and you'll never get it, but it's also a Johto Pokemon, so it means a lot to me. I'll take
He's always a treat. It's always a treat to find him. It's like, because he has that special... It's like a Snorlax. Like, you find it, it's like, it's a boy. Yes. Oh, I'm on board.
It's like a classic feel-good pick, right?
Yeah.
It might be a running theme with my team. I've not gone for like a lot of like legendaries or like super edgy ones, but like I picked some nice ones that I just really dig. Second one, obviously, Farfetch'd.
Another good pick.
Don't like Surfetch'd at all. I think that's like
no,
well, he's a Tory.
It's too much. It's too much. It's like Tough Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is amazing. He's got the leak. A bit little performer, love that guy, fantastic. Then Crabrawler.
Oh,
that
really?
is an outside one. Crabrawler,
love a crab. Okay. I think it's just such a great sort of
Crabrawler over Krabby and Kingler.
Yeah, something about the boxing crab is just such a neat idea. I feel like sometimes with Pokemon, when they try and make ones that are really similar to like older Pokemon, they kind of go a bit too wacky. But this one for like a boxing crab, the ones that like knock bits off like other sea life. I think they nailed it. I think it's like a really cool newer gen Pokemon. I really love. Electivire. I like that big hairy weirdo. He's kind of cool. I like his entire vibe. I like how he's this big like mammoth looking guy.
There's a nice Electivire card where he's like standing with Magmortar around the campfire, cool. And they're just heating their hands. Before you proceed, Connor, and I had a feeling, but in my binder, I have the Sudowoodo card.
That's it. He's just posed up, but that's so good.
How they evolved, one of the best sets ever. Anyway, continue.
Then Murkrow. It's a cool little bird.
Nice.
I rate Murkrow. He's fantastic. And then finally, somewhat of a spirit animal, I guess. I like Spinder. The bear.
Because you're an alcoholic and you just constantly
because I'm an alcoholic, because I'm a mess. Yeah. I don't know. That's my team. In terms of like the sort of trainer I would be, I don't know. Like, when you go through those games and like you just come across some random jobber in an office building.
You have the beard and the hair of like a hiker, like one of the hiker type trainers.
And I got some rock, I got some normal, I got some like flying type as well. I think that's very hiker set. Like that's kind of his team.
And you throw in an Electivire right at the end just to confuse you. Like, or maybe you're like an electrician, so it's like a mix of the both.
Maybe.
I think that's a solid team. So Connor, your level of Pokemon fandom. I want to know, when did you get in? When did you go out? When do you think it was at the hottest?
Oh, well, I got in when I was at school during Ruby and Sapphire. A bunch of sort of, like the games, a bunch of kids, including myself, all into it. And then I collected cards sort of casually back then, alongside like Yu-Gi-Oh! And a bit of Magic. It fell off for a while. And then I think during uni, during like X and Y, I got back into it in a major way. And I started playing a bit down like card shops and that sort of thing. And like it was like a social thing I do with people. That's when it was at its highest for sure. And now that I'm broke and have lots of like financial responsibilities, I kind of stay at like a safe distance. I'll occasionally buy a pack and I'll like check out the new sets. And okay, I'll go to a draft out like a pack, like a big opening at like a shop like
the Building Battles.
I think in May I'm gonna go for a Twilight Masquerade pre-release, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just because I like the sort of social environment. You go open some cards and people pull some good stuff, and you know, it's less about like buying individual cards over like months and more like, okay, the set's out, you play the set, that was sick, done. You know?
You get that nice feeling of at a pre-release, if you're not one of the regulars, but your Building Battle has like absolute hot shit in it, and all the regulars get crap. You're like, yes, very, very good.
So good.
I went to the pre-release for the first Sword and Shield set, and my pal who came with me pulled 2 gold cards out of 6 packs. I was like, that's and she didn't care. She was just there, like she was essentially there so I could get double the amount. So I paid her entry, so I got those. I was like,
I mean, the best way to do it is you either go with like total preparation. You know what cards are the killers. You know what you need to build like, you know, build around, or you just go totally blind. No idea what's in the set, and you just pull some sick art and you pull some sick cards, and then you just have a jolly, right? But it's great. So that's me.
Enjoyable.
That's my Pokemon.
That's you as a Pokemon. What age are you again?
26.
Okay.
Oh. Wait, I'm 27. Okay. God.
Oh, you old man. So you're kind of you're of the age where I would have thought you'd have maybe got in it at Pokemania peak at like red and blue, gold and silver, but you're a little bit after that.
I think at that age, I was still like mentally stable, kind of on a good path. And then that sort of diverted.
Really got you.
Yeah, it really got me. Yeah, it's just like you see that like cinematic of like Kyogre and Groundon squaring off. I'm like, okay, and this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a metaphor for life, you know. It's a very pro-environmentalist game. Not a lot of people give it credit for that.
Yeah.
Okay, you can come and you can be on the podcast. We'll officially give you that.
That's good.
You've made it through. This week we've got a couple of little bits of news, because just as we concluded last week's episode, we got more news about new sets coming out this year. We are getting 2 upcoming Japanese sets. We've got Paradise Dragona, which will release on September 13th, and Supercharged Breaker, which will feature Stellar Pikachu and release on October 18th. These dates are via Pokebeach. Now, the Paradise Dragona set, as we kind of chatted about, is going to be dragon focused. It's going to be like a non-booster box set. You're getting your ETBs, your collection boxes, stuff like that. My initial reaction is that's fine, but we've had like a few dragon sets at this point. I would maybe like something a bit different, a reprint of Neo, for example. But
you've never mentioned that before.
Yeah, I just want to say it as many times as possible so that when it finally happens, I can take credit for it. But yeah, it seems that Supercharged Breaker will be the next actual set, because that will have booster boxes, and I can't remember if we comment on things like that or not, but there may or may not be images of stellar cards in English floating around the internet, so we may have seen what they look like. Tom, your reaction so far?
Am I allowed to say my reaction to something that I may or may not have seen on the internet?
Careful, Tom.
Say your may or may not reaction.
My may or may not reaction is they are cards and they have a style to them that may or may not displease me in some ways, but other ways please me.
They may or may not be very, very busy looking, in my opinion.
They may or may not be that.
I may or may not send them over to Connor now in case he hasn't seen them. But
let's have a gander.
They may or may not. Go on.
They may or may not all be very kind of white and rainbowy, so it's very hard to tell. It may or may not be very hard to tell what type they actually are for a lot of the cards. But
do you know what I may or may not say about these? I think it improves some of the issues that we have with a lot of the EX cards in general, which may or may not be very colourful and maybe kind of may or may be pretty bland. These are these may or may not be definitely not very bland.
These may or may not look kind of
Connor, as someone that doesn't, you don't have to work with the Pokemon Company the same way we do. So, what is your opinion of these things you may or may not be looking at?
They potentially hypothetically look kind of shit. No, like I think one of the strengths of like Pokemon, like TCG, is that like you get these special cards and they all look really rad. Like, and these, in my opinion, and maybe the may or may not whatever photo I'm looking at is like putting it in a poor light.
Picture. It doesn't
show
the picture at all.
Maybe may or may not be a different picture which has more saturation to it. Maybe.
Okay.
Which I made.
Because
yeah.
Yeah, what I'm looking at is a bit washed out. I don't know. Like if you look at I think some of like the like shiny special super rare cards and like Twilight Masquerade look better. 100%. But
it's a difficult situation because these cards, and this isn't an allegedly thing. We know this. These cards are based on the Stellar typing, which is introduced in the second DLC, which is another thing that, like, visually they have to fit on the card. This has been a problem throughout Scarlet and Violet with the hats, like the hats that they've had to fit in for Terra typing. Like the Stellar type makes that even more difficult. I think this will be. I think the full arts of these will look amazing. It's just 100%. A lot to fit into the window. You know?
I mean, for sure, it just looks a bit crowded and a bit kind of like, we have to think of a way to make this look different in a way that kind of makes sense, and I don't think it really works. I have ruder thoughts, but I just kind of think they look a bit naff.
Yeah,
I think from a technical perspective, Tom, I think it's interesting that we look at some of these attacks, and it's like, these attacks have 3 different energy requirements. Like
they may or may not remind me of the Amazing Rares in Vivid Voltage.
Yeah,
may or may not. Maybe
the Amazing Rares were like nice, but they didn't get much play. Like these cards look like they'd be an absolute pain to try and set up from like a meta perspective.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's weird for them to do that. Like make some cards which would be a pain to play and also don't look great.
Yeah,
I mean, if
you we don't. There might be some ace card in this set that makes this irrelevant. It's a basic Pokemon with a 1 energy attack that's like search your deck for 3 energy, attach it in any way you want, and it's like possible to set up. But who's running decks with like 3 different types of energy?
It's the sort of thing that if you were to pull it in a draft, you'd look at it and be like, this is cool, but I'm just going to totally spike my entire run building a deck around this, right? It doesn't seem very optimal. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at this and it's kind of just a bummer.
I think it's always going to be difficult to fit in-game battle mechanic like this into the TCG. You assume this will be this set comes out after Worlds, so Stellar Pokemon will be in rotation for next year's Worlds, which we're hoping is going to be in Paisley.
100%.
And then,
thing is, do we know that these are legit? Like, really? Like,
they're legit. Yeah.
Because like someone is, because I don't know. Like, if they're not legit, then that would kind of be.
A few images have came out from disparate people that,
right.
If it is fake, it's an incredibly well coordinated fake, and the cards look amazing. But I believe it is. Okay. I believe it is real. The only thing I can't make out is what the set code is, because the set code has like a wee version of the name. Like for Paldea Evolved, it's PAL. For Temporal Forces, it's TEF.
It looks like it's SCR.
Stellar Crisis.
That'd be sick.
CR. yeah, it's going to be Stellar something, Stellar Crash, Stellar something or other. It's weird because I thought we were going to get to the point where our sets and the Japanese sets were going to come out basically the same time, because we did get to that website. Like, we got Obsidian Flames before Japan got Ruler of the Black Flame, but Mask of Change is out last week, and Twilight Masquerade isn't out till next month, and the set,
it is weird,
yeah.
I wonder what determines that, if it's just kind of just like production times, or if it's like a plan they've got to try and balance things out. Like,
so everything is basically scheduled around Worlds, like for the rotations for the TCG.
Yeah.
And now there will be a conscious effort because Pokemon ZA is coming out. They'll have a set for that. They can't come out before ZA has been shown, or else it'll spoil everything.
Yeah.
But apart from for stuff like Mask of Change, I don't know why they're waiting for that, because a friend of the show, actual first guest, TCG Radio himself, Ross, put out a video today that there's a deck that comes out of Twilight Masquerade that's like dominating everything in Japan at the minute. So is there still a regional to go before Worlds, Tom? Do you know off the top of your head if we've got anything else that might?
Have we had the America International? That's already happened, right?
Orlando went was a couple of weeks ago.
I think. I mean, I couldn't tell you if like any other Asian ones. Like, I don't really know, but like I know. I assume like European, Western. That probably it. I don't know. I'm not. I couldn't confidently say yes or no.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. I kind of wish it was unified, but if it's not going to be, then you imagine the Dragon set is like the special set in the same time that 151 was last year, so like end of August.
The thing is, there was a big delay with 151 for us and Japan, right? I remember that was huge.
They got it in February, we got it in August for whatever reason.
Oh,
that was such a wild delay.
Yeah, so if we get this, and if we get Paradise Dragona, and well, if Japan's getting it in September, we're not getting it in August. Maybe the Dragon set's our Christmas set this year.
To be fair, that makes sense. If you have nothing big to have this year, a Dragon set is that'll sell some kids some boxes.
Yeah,
I mean, for sure. I mean, kids love dragons, and like the Pokemon Dragon type has like always been one of the most popular, just like general typings, right?
Tazagiri, best Dragon type.
Yeah.
Alolan Executor, best Dragon type. I think if they're going to do a Dragon set, even though he's not Dragon type, I bet they slap a big fat Charizard in this.
100%.
Christmas set. Slap a big fat Charizard. Happy days.
A Terra Charizard with Terra Dragon type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they doing like a special sort of Latios and Latias as well?
So here's the thing: if they do a special Latios and Latias, they have to compete with one of the greatest Pokemon cards of all time, which is that tag team Latios and Latias, where they're like a heart, that all are them together.
Yeah.
So maybe they do. I could foresee a world where they do 2 Elite Trainer boxes, because they've liked doing that recently. One of them's Latios, one of them's Latias.
That'd be cool.
That's it. You've done it. That's it.
It fits perfect, right? Like that kind of makes sense, yeah.
Well, it says here the official sell sheet says the set will feature many Dragon type Pokemon, including Alolan Executor, Latios, and Latias. So yeah, those 2 are in it.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. They're just like killer dragons. Like everyone loves them.
If I was them, I would do 2 ETBs, Latios and Latias, and have the cards like match up with each other.
Oh yeah, I mean, what will be the ultra? Will it be an ultra premium collection for this? Because it's an end of year. If it's an end of year set, there's usually a new.
Considering how badly the last couple of UPCs have sold, I don't think so. Like that Charizard one is still sitting in my local game shop. The Mew one's still sitting in my local game shop.
That's mad that the Mew one's still knocking about, given it's 151. But yeah, the Charizard one was overprinted to hell.
151's had a massive reprint, I think, because I was in Forbidden Planet in London a couple of weeks ago, and they had tons of the Zapdos and Alakazam boxes and the poster boxes, which were meant to be first run only.
Oh, damn. Oh, fair.
Wow.
I don't think they're reprinting the booster bundles, but the other product, like you can get four 151 packs for £20 in that Alakazam pack, that box. So like
that's cool.
Yeah, we know Pokemon has faced an overprinting problem. Which brings us to the next point of the week. Is that sealed?
No. Why would it be sealed?
Oh.
It's Charizard one.
You have to open it.
I have like I said, I did it last week, but there's a sealed Celebrations UPC there.
That's your money. That's your money right there.
Cash.
Okay. Next part. of the podcast, I'd like to present to you what I spent my money on this week. I bought a booster box of Temporal Forces, the latest set, because Chaos Cards had an Easter sale on TikTok, and with a TikTok shop voucher, this booster box cost me £80, down from a retail value of £143.
Okay, that's not bad then. That's not bad at all.
Did someone say overprinting? So yeah, I picked up the Temporal Forces booster box. I have not really got into this set much. It was actually talking to Neve last week when she was talking about her pulls. I was like, okay, right, let's get into it. So I also picked up the Voltex binder.
Oh, that's lovely.
No code yet, but there will be at one point.
That is lush.
Come on, Voltex. Come on.
Would you like to see some of my pulls?
Yeah.
You mean cards, right?
You know what? Because they're in penny sleeves and they're quite hard to get out. I'll show you the very best. Walking Wake SIR, an absolutely stunning card, and the fourth most expensive in the set.
That's great.
I only got one SIR on that box. I know you're not guaranteed them or whatever. No full art trainers, no SIR trainers. Like there was no trainers whatsoever, which is okay. I got a lot of art rares, including this Litten, which is
I love Litten.
Lovely.
Oh, it's so good.
I have so much time for cat Pokemon.
Yeah, I was very happy with that. Got the Shiftry as well, which is quite cool. And the Mincino, the Cincino is like weirdly expensive, but I think that's because it's part of a popular Lugia deck at the minute. But yeah, Temporal Forces. Right. I enjoyed opening it. The set seems pretty cool. It's got a lot of meta cards like the Buddy Poffin, stuff like that. Also, we'll just get into pickups now. I was at my local card shop and I bought these have prices on them. Paldea Evolved Chi-Yu art rare.
That's lovely.
Wow.
For £15. The reddest card that ever was. For £6, I got the Jacques special illustration rare from Scarlet and Violet, I believe. He's just sleeping. He's an absolutely exhausted lad. I picked up, again from Paldea Evolved, the Grusha special illustration rare.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's good.
That's great.
And also from Paldea Evolved, can you tell I'm trying to finish this set? The Giacomo, he's on his decks, he's on his DJ decks.
Oh, another one. Yeah.
That's rad. Cool.
Which is not bad. £8 as well. I went into my local card shop, Chaos Cards. Not Chaos. I keep saying that. My local card shop is not Chaos Cards. Static Games in Glasgow. Kenny, who works in there, has been doing this for 20 years, so he knows shit, and he has this big card wall behind him. So when you're talking to him, your eyes are just going in different directions. Yeah, it was a good little week of pickups. Is there anything in Temporal Forces, Tom, that piques your interest? Are you holding fire?
Well, I was just gonna say my pickups. I also picked some stuff up this last few days. Ooh. They've not arrived yet, but I have done a little. So I was on the tweets and I saw that a few people on Whatnot are doing some like streams with some base set giveaways. And so
don't tell me you won one of these.
No, imagine.
Oh, okay.
you would have heard by now.
Okay. There's no way I would down to Manchester.
No. So I ended up buying 2 packs of Shiny Treasures EX, but using my £10 like your code for Whatnot. So I managed to pick that up. And then accidentally on the first one, like he was doing like bidding for different cards, I accidentally won a Rockets Charizard from the Team Rocket set. Which, it was a little bit damaged, but I paid like £35 for it, which is like I think it's a good price in this card. I'm like, oh no, it was a Dark Charizard. It was a Dark Charizard. And it's like a card I had when I was a kid.
Hollow one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I was about to say, please tell me you didn't pay that for the non-hollow, but as someone who's bought the hollow recently, that is a good price for that.
But it's a bit damaged, so I'm like, I mean, legit, like got a bit of a crease in the back of it. I'm like, I love that card I used to have as a kid. I also bought, it just says Japanese raw single, so it means I've completely forgot. Oh, it was a Slowking. It was a Slowking from one of the Neo sets. No, he has the big blank side where it's just all hollow.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice one.
So I got that. I also bought a pack of Paldean Fates, a pack of Temporal Forces. just
grabbing random stuff.
Just grabbing random stuff. I was like,
That's the thing with Whatnot. Like,
it's
Whatnot's
dangerous.
An interesting platform. Yeah,
it's
an interesting platform because there has been people that have been like dodgy on it, but also some of the deals you can get are unbelievable.
Yeah, it's because they like do it in like 4-second bursts sometimes, so you don't have time for it to go too bad. And like, I don't know, I just swiped at the very end of the Charizard. I didn't realize I'd won it. And Randolph was like, "And the winner is a new TCG." I was like, "Oh, I just spent £35."
Oh mate, don't worry. I was fucking
It's so easy. It's so easy. Yeah. It's so easy. Just like blow money like that. It's like gone. It's not your fault.
Across any TCG/CCG, Connor, what is the most you've spent? My record is 151 launch day. Well, that's not true. Back in the day, I used to buy booster box cases, but modern 151 launch day. I spent like 500 quid on product that day.
I think in a single purchase, I've spent like, and this sounds like baby numbers, I think I spent like £80 on like a Red Eyes Black Dragon deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Nice. I have spent £200 on Warhammer figurines.
Okay, I feel like that's in the same house.
It is. It's the same club. It is for sure. It's got the same sort of like expensive buy-in. It's got the whole like resellers market that's like hellish. It's the same sort of club. I mean, yeah, it's so easy. You don't ever feel bad about it unless you need that money for rent or whatever.
Oh yeah. I think it was like during the pandemic, I got really suckered in during that Vivid Voltage year and ended up buying like three boxes of it. Not 3 like crates, but there's like 3 booster boxes.
Yeah.
So I've still got one of those just in there.
Sometimes you just got to dip. You just got to go.
They're not worth much. Like, I think they're about 130 quid at the moment.
That Vivid Voltage will fly because of the big fat gay Pikachu. That will go eventually.
Pardon?
Oh yeah, the big fat gay Pikachu.
That's what it's called.
That's what it's canonically called. It's a big fat rainbow holographic Pikachu. So everyone calls it the big fat gay Pikachu. He's great. He's a pride icon.
Sick. That's so sick.
Non-derogatory.
Non-derogatory big Pikachu.
Okay.
Box prices are weird at the minute because I will be receiving some money from a project soon, and I'm very, very tempted to spend all of it on Scarlet and Violet era booster boxes and just put them away because they are as cheap. They're like as cheap as shops are buying them at the minute, like £80, £90.
Right.
A local game store pays £67 on a booster box, so you're getting it for basically nothing. If I spent, and I saw a thing that was like Pokemon cards are a better investment than like houses and cars because under normal circumstances, if you put your money in the bank or something like that or an investment, it's meant to double in 7 years. Pokemon cards go up by 600% in 7 years, and this has always been the case. In some cases, it's been like 1200%.
But it also depends. It also depends on the box. Like it's not like a guarantee. Like you could like grab like Rebel Clash. Probably not going to be worth much. Oh, it's fair. No one bought Rebel Clash.
Eventually, it will be. Eventually, we just we're obviously in a huge dip. The 30th will be a massive upswing again.
Oh yeah.
I'm convinced they're reprinting base. Then we'll go in another dip. Then the 35th will be a massive upswing again. Like Pokemon is in such a regular cycle of when it presses the Kanto button to get people back in.
It works every time, 100%.
Yeah.
It didn't really kick off with 151. Like 151 was good, but it didn't really.
The problem with 151 was it was too close to the Logan Paul boom. So people were still like the pandemic and the Logan Paul stuff and like all the cards going to ridiculous prices. Like we're still kind of in the aftershock of that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So because it was like Pokemon Go, quiet period. Logan Paul, now we're in another quiet period, and then the 30th anniversary will be the next one. I'm so sure of that.
That makes sense,
especially with it because I bet you we get the first Pokemon game on Switch 2 in the 30th anniversary year. Like
makes sense. Yeah, all lines up. So there you go. Financial advice, listeners. There we go.
This is financial advice. Ignore that man. He's choking.
I can say that because I'll never be back. So you should absolutely spend your savings on Pokemon cards. Do it.
Is that a threat that you'll never be back, or is that just because you don't?
I might. It depends if people like me. Yeah.
It depends on what horrible views he expresses in the next couple of days. Okay, next up we have a couple of the Mask of Change secret art rares. I've sent them to both of you. Let's go through them. And now, because last time they were still coming in, I think we recorded the last show the day that the set came out, so not all of the cards have been shown, but now people have ripped the boxes to pieces, and we can look at the market analysis of the most expensive. Connor, would you be shocked to hear that the card with a lassie on it's the most expensive one?
Do you know what? I don't think you have to be a mega expert on Pokemon to see that come in. And to be fair, what a banger.
It's a great card.
It's so good.
Yeah. Carmine is not a character that I loved in the game, neither was Kieran, but the cards are fantastic. Twilight Masquerade is such a weird set for me because I really hate the loyal. I famously hate the loyal 3, but there's enough stuff around it that I'm like, and a box is only £100, and I'm like, did I chuck a pre-order? Did I just maybe get one? Because I've had the box of every set this gen, so I feel like,
oh my god,
I don't want to miss it.
I mean, it's just great, like handing you the Chinese takeaway of the egg on it. Bang. Like, it's so good.
As I predicted on this show, Buddy Buddy Poffin, which is a really meta card at the minute, it's in like everyone's deck. The gold version of that is the second most expensive. This is the Poxy version, the Poxy people version. But
these prices aren't high.
No, yeah, they're not bad. Like
this set is really
the highest card in the set being $96,
and that's going to go down. Yeah. Like this is pre-release price. I know it's not pre-release in Japan, but you know what I'm saying. Like this is not a price that's going to stick. If that's the highest price card in Japan, in the UK, that's not going to be the same. It's going to be what, 50 quid, 30 quid.
Yeah.
And reflective of the fact that this Dragapult deck is like dominating the Dragapult EX Ultra Rare is 18 quid. All those Ogerpon EXs are like $10 to $15 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's a side effect of the fact that although we are in a fantastic era for artwork, there's just a lot of it. There might be too much good artwork.
That's the problem, right? Like, I think if you kind of dip into Pokemon TCG every now and again, you see the artwork, you're like, that's sick. Like, that's awesome, right? If you're keeping up to date and buying every single set, right, you get used to that. You're like, oh, I mean, cool. It's a cat on a bookshelf. That art is brilliant, but you know, it's just the way it goes.
And the all art and illustration rare era, like there was no way for everything to keep its price because no one could afford it. Like it had to dip down eventually. Like it says here that the Tatsugiri illustration rare is 300 yen. That must be a typo because that's £1.50. Like, and it says the Frostlass yen, the Frostlass and Dipplin cost 50 yen, which is like 25 pence.
It's nothing.
Yeah, so I don't know. The Frostlass card looks great. Like,
invest now while it's low.
I know. Invest now while it's literally pennies. Tape pennies to birthday cards and send them to Japan.
100%. I'd like to shout out Kieran quick. Mm-hmm. I love this card art because it looks like you've got like 3 varieties of like serial killer. Like, I mean, the Pikachu on the right looks like CCTV found footage, like guy in a Pikachu mask, like found after the fact. It's just so good. And then the old school sort of art illustration on it is so good. Like, but I love the creeper vibes of it. It's really...
Yeah, I bet that card looks so there's a difference between the sparkle on the Japanese ultra rares and the English ultra rares. I bet the Japanese version of that looks absolutely immense.
Do you know what would be a cool set to launch? Like a classic Ken Sugimori style set.
Oh mate,
like, if the artwork was just like that for like one like Kanto set, they just brought it back with the classic art style. That would be an awesome like illustration rares like that.
100%.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the problem with doing something like that is that you would need to take like 2 years to prep it to have one person to draw 150 cards. But if they did like they used to do it in Japan a lot, where they would do like collection boxes of like 10 or like 5 or so special cards that never made it into sets, like the Poncho Pikachus and stuff like that.
They did it with
If they did this podcast is sponsored by Secret Lab.
Oh, he's grabbing his gun.
The Locana boxes, they do it sometimes, don't they?
Oh, okay.
Like this is the Lorcana box from the Disney 100 when Rise of the Floodborn came out, and like these
is
are
that all one artist?
They're not all one artist, but they're all like I don't think these cards are anywhere else, and they're all like signed and stuff. But like if they were all one artist, that'd be really cool. And also, this box is like, guess how? Literally, that bit of the box has things in it. The rest of it is just empty.
Oh, really?
Classic, 100%. Like
shelf space, baby.
Exactly.
It's like with the. I mean, these are smaller than they used to be, but these boxes where it's you've got 4 packs and then just a massive card on this side with nothing.
Can I offer you a very random piece of nostalgia?
Shoot,
Go on,
do it.
Wait till it focuses.
Ooh.
Where did you get that?
So I have Pikachu, Gengar.
For the audio listeners, tell us what we're looking at here.
So sorry, I always forget that we're an audio thing. So these are Poke-ROMs, and they're not expensive. You can find them on eBay for pretty cheap, and they are educational CD-ROM games, which came out I think in 2000, and they were like the 2 series. One was Kanto based, the other one was 2nd gen, I think. So I've got here like Mewtwo, Eevee, Mewtwo again, Poliwhirl. Because during the era where Poliwhirl was a thing
everywhere. Yeah.
Meowth, another Gengar, and 2 Pikachus, and there was a corner shop round from my parents' house. Like, well, it's still there, but these Poke-ROMs are just on the shelf for like 10 years, and I go in every single day and be like, at the end of the day, I was just like, "Can I have them?" It went, "How much?" I went, "I'll give you a $5." And he just gave me the whole display box of them that was left.
Yeah.
So I've just got these really weird nostalgic Poke-ROMs, and just like they're worth, I think maybe like 10 to 20 quid each, maybe less. But it's such a cool piece of like nostalgic history.
Yeah, the old school Pokemon vibes. It's what it's all about. Right?
Yeah,
I think the attitude towards buying old Pokemon stuff just because you can sell it on for like £1 million, while obviously fantastic, right? Don't let it dissuade you from just buying old tat like a Pikachu keyring or whatever.
That's the thing. Like a lot of the old crap that isn't cards is actually really cheap and looks great. Yeah. Like I do want to find myself getting into more of that stuff.
Do you have any old crap?
I saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok. It was like a market in Newcastle, and they had vinyl figures of Ash, Brock and Misty, and Jesse and James, like in peak Pokemania packaging. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's some really cool stuff that just looks great that isn't like gonna break the bank. Like that 6 Sudowoodo card you showed is like what, $7?
Yeah, it's a cheap card, but it's a nice one.
Yeah.
Oh god, we better wrap up before Tom goes absolutely tonto.
No. I thought I had a really old, crappy Zapdos plushie hanging around somewhere. I don't know where it is. It used to be in here, but I think I must have taken it to the attic. But yeah, I was trying to
feel
find
bad.
that.
I'm the only one of that needs like show and tell. I was like,
oh, it's all right. Okay, before we go, I'm introducing a new segment to the show. I have a card here. Okay, I have a Pokemon card here. Mm-hmm. Guess what type of Pokemon this is?
Normal.
Listeners also guess. Keep a track of your score, and we'll do this from now on. Connor guesses normal. Tom guesses
electric.
Water type Keldeo. You fools! You absolute fools!
Why would you
let us know if you got that correct. Let us know.
I'm going to do it back to you guys now. I'm going to do it back to you guys.
Okay.
Let's pick a random card.
It's got to be a typed Pokemon. Don't give me this trainer pish.
Okay. I've got it here.
Okay. Dark type.
Normal.
It's actually a spell card.
Okay, that's it. We're done here. Connor, where can we find you online?
You can find me online on Twitter, Nito Marker. It's got the Pac-Man profile. I also write for VG247.com.
Who?
We're like a distant cousin of VGC.
The Audi VGC.
Yeah. We're doing all right, and you can find my words there. Unless I get laid off in 2 weeks' time when our company gets bought. In which case I'll be like, I'll be buying Pokemon cards and saving them and selling them to try and, so it is what it is. But you can find me there, we do some TCG stuff every now and again, and, Pokemon cards are great. And, you can also catch me down in Reading at the the Twilight Masquerade draft.
That's
please don't
for a fight.
Stab me and take my cards.
If you go to the Twilight Masquerade draft in Batter Corner, I'll send you an illustration rare of your choosing. You can follow Tom on Twitter at Monkey Nook. I'm Jordan Midler. Nathan's not here this week. You may have noticed.
Oh yeah, where's Nathan?
Nathan is busy this week, but he will be back. Thank you for watching, listening. Subscribe to Secret Rare on YouTube. Say goodbye, Connor.
Goodbye. It was lovely being here. You're all wonderful.
That's not true at all. Say goodbye, Tom.
Bye. I have a key. I don't know what it does.
That mystery will be solved next week. See you then.